Hey y'all, let me pin this. Did I get it? Think so. Hi Queen Madre, good to see you. Happy Saturday, y'all. Dorita, hey girl. I can pray for you 24/7. I'm on your list because I remember one time you came in and I said, well, pray for me, honey. And you said, I will add you to my list. So I'm trusting that you've been praying for me, okay? Y'all, I am just enjoying being on a mini retreat. You hear me? One of my friends, I'm so happy and excited for her. She recently bought a lake house, and so she's still doing some work on it. And so me and another friend came up to like hang out slash watch her do work. Yeah. So anywho, but we are helping kind of sort of but not really, and enjoying just simply being by the lake. Thank you so much. Chapter 50 motivator, loving that. I'm assuming or guessing that you are helping women who are approaching chapter 50 or have made it over on into chapter 50. I may have to go on over there. Yeah, but well, okay. I guess I can do some stuff. I'm not super handy, but we'll see what I can do. Y'all, for those of you who don't know me, let me introduce myself. I will. Let me write that down. Chapter 50 motivator, and the rest of y'all check her out too. I love pages such as that. For example, I follow Fly Hip Ageless. I'm a brand ambassador for them, actually. It is very important to me to be excited about being, how old am I? I'll be 47 in a few months. And I absolutely love the 40s and I'm looking forward to 50. So, yes, 53 and loving it. Yes, okay. So, for you guys who haven't met me yet, hey, Mecca. I am Queen and I'm the content creator and the connector here over at Wisdom for Well-Beings. And Wisdom for Well-Beings is the go to for grown women. So, you're in the right place. Grown women. Uh oh, like it paused real quick. I'm not sure. But grown women who are seeking wisdom for their overall well being. And when I'm talking about wisdom, y'all, what I'm talking about is spiritual insight, clarity, sound judgment. And then you take that and you put it on top of the information that we're getting about our health, whether it is spirit, soul, mind, or body. And then you got that wisdom working for well being because you're grown women, you have lived long enough to know. Hey, you can call me Jal. I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Hello. You can call me Al. Maybe that reminds me of that song from, who was that? Paul Simon back in the day? Anywho, I digress. Music pops into my head all the time. But what I was saying was, as a grown woman, you know that everything you hear, all the knowledge that you receive about health is not all that there is. And it may not always be something that you should exactly do. And through the wise, well women that come in here and talk to us on these lives, by the way, we learn about the challenges that they've had to overcome, whether related to something going on in their body or something going on in their mind. Hey, Maisha, but wisdom was the main thing that helped them to really overcome, to really help them to get to the other side of what they were in, or help them to even manage while they were in it. Yeah, based off of that song. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, y'all, speaking of life experiences and wisdom and how that helps you get to the other side, listen, you have a story to tell. Some of you, myself included, you could have a whole lifetime movie made after you because of the things that you have overcome. Ooh, who am I talking to? Who could have a whole movie? Okay. And this sister that we are talking to today, also, she has been through some stuff, but she does not look like what she has been through. I'm not going to even tell her whole story. I'm going to let her tell it. Oh, thank you. Oh, I didn't post it. Wait, hold on, y'all. Maisha, I'm so glad you said that because I usually pin okay, there it is. Somebody just said something. I wanted to make sure I said something too. Hey, Kiera. I think somebody said yes, ma'am, or oh yeah, Kish Sell said yes, ma'am. When I said that some of you have overcome things that if you told people what you've been through, because see, they see you right now. They see how cute you are. They see what you got. They see what you earned. They see what you've learned. And they may even think for a second, well, that's easy for you to say because this, that, and the other. They don't even know because they were not there when you did not know how you were going to make it. You know what I'm saying? Those are the type of stories I love to hear. And we have Mecca Joy. I'm going to start bringing her on. I don't know why I'm whispering like everybody can't hear me. Like you all can hear me, but she won't hear me saying this. Yes, the truth. You don't know my journey. You don't. And I know that person in real life who said that. And you would look at her and you would think, wow, I would love that life. Wish I had that. That sounds amazing. I know Maisha as well. Wow, look at what she's doing. Woo, you don't even know. You looking at somebody too. You don't even know, y'all. But we are transformed. We are encouraged. We are helped. We are hoped, as my grandmama used to call it, by hearing other people's testimonies and other people's stories. Okay. So as Mecca with hearts as our way of showing applause to welcome this wise, well woman, Mecca Joy. So I'm just waiting for her to come in. Yeah, they don't know the story behind the
Oh, I
glory.
didn't
I
have
like
to
how you
change
see.
it. Lord.
Hey, Mecca.
Hey, I didn't chat the chat. So I was on both. I was using both of my phones to go live with
Okay.
you. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
anyway, I'm here on the other phone.
So let me brag on you for a little bit, okay? So as she sits over there in her office, thank you for those hearts. Hey, Jackie. So Mecca, for over a decade now, has been helping entrepreneurs, entrepreneurial-minded people take their wishes and dreams and the man, I would love to do this, and that. And she helps them create a structure around how to get to where they want to go. And then
Yeah.
success is happening.
That's
That
what
is
we
what
do.
she's doing.
Yes.
That's and she does it well.
Thank you.
So yeah,
Thank you.
must be
Thank
nice,
you.
right?
Yes.
Can I tell us about June? What you told me about June?
Yes. You can. You can share it.
I have to brag on you for this. For those of you who are just coming in, you're about to hear a story. As somebody just posted in here, Mecca said, "You don't know the story behind the glory." You
Yes.
are looking at a woman who has been thriving in her career as an entrepreneur, and in the month of June alone, brought in 50K.
Yep.
That's some people's salary. That is the level that she has been working towards and is beginning to now go beyond that.
Yeah.
But let's dial it back.
Yes.
Throw it back, as
Yes.
Missy would say.
It's
Y'all. Mecca, girl,
exciting. It's
how are
exciting.
you, first of all? I didn't even ask you how you were feeling.
I'm feeling great. I'm here. I woke up this morning feeling motivated and excited. I felt like since I've been more focused on building my goals, professional and personal, I felt like a desire to wake up. You know what I mean? So I was
Mm-hmm.
up at like 6 this morning, and I just sat there, meditated, did my little abundance prayer, and listened to some really positive things this morning, because that's like my routine every morning. Is I have to fill myself up with the good stuff. I can't look at media takeout and world star hip hop and all of that stuff, or even turn on the TV. Like I literally have to go into, meditation, or some type of, feed myself with some type of something, substance,
Mm-hmm.
in the morning. So I've been doing that for a while, and it helps. And on those days that I don't, it's definitely noticeable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so I'm feeling great. I'm here.
Happy to hear that. And the way you started your morning today is very different about the way you would have started your mornings even 5 or 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
So when you look back, let's take it back let's go back, let's say to 15 years ago, 10,
Okay.
15 years
Yes.
ago. What did your life look like then?
Well, I'm gonna take it back just a little bit before then.
Okay.
I say let's take it back like 19, 20 years. I had just got married. I was 21. I
Mm,
was thinking I had seen the world, and I could get married, and all of this stuff, because 21, I thought I knew everything.
of course.
And I had got married, and I had dreams. I had small dreams, was what I would say. And I guess I'll say they're systematic dreams, where, okay, I want to go have a family, and, do all of this stuff is what the system tells you to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to be a mom. I had dreams of being a mom and wanting to be married. And that was what was programmed into me. So I had desires of that, and I manifested that. So at 21, I got married. I wanted to have my son. Fast forward 22, I got pregnant. He was probably about 6 months, and I had some girlfriends come to me and tell me that my husband was hitting on them. And I was like, now mind you, they was like my best girlfriends. That they had
Mm-hmm.
keys to my house. They like, I had older women who would tell me, like, you don't bring women, I don't care who they are, you don't bring your man around them. I had women tell me that, and I'd be like, what? These is my dogs. These my bitches. What? I ain't never, if I got to worry about him around them, then he need to go. I had that
Mm-hmm.
conversation. And what I realized is that to this day, I don't know whether it was true or not. I'm not friends with them anymore. I felt like the way it was handled, I felt like you could have told me right then and there. It was like it took months to be told. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like,
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like there was some um, conniving, like some sneaky hating type of thing going on. So I'm really not sure what happened. Come to find
Mm-hmm.
out, the one girl had an issue with me that I never even knew about. So that was neither here nor there. But when it happened, I was like, what the hell am I going to do? At the time, I think I just had my GED, and I had my son. He's 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what the heck? So I
So,
literally, I
because
put,
you stay married, so your friends come to you and they tell you your husband has been hitting on me, her too, and this rocks your world because these have been your besties for however long, and you're married to the love of your life. You got a baby, and so you're thinking about leaving because I heard you just say,
no,
"What am
no.
I gonna do?" So did you?
Well, I won't
Yeah,
necessarily,
go
I
ahead.
would say that I was thinking about leaving, but I was like, oh shit, like, what the heck are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, because at that time I was a stay-at-home mom. I just had my GED. I really wasn't working toward, I think I may have had a job at the time, and was working, but nothing that could sustain myself, you know what I'm saying, and my child, you know what I mean? So I didn't want to be on welfare. I didn't want to be on Section 8. So it was just like, what the heck are you going to do? And
Mm-hmm.
I put him in a stroller one day, and I went down to the community college, and I was asking questions like, what am I supposed to do? What do I have to do? I think I even got registered. I talked to counselor or whatever, and he gave me some advice, and I ended up getting registered. I got to the point where I was going to fill out FOSFA for financial aid, and I froze. I was scared to death. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know, and truthfully, if I didn't reach out to one of my cousins who then sent me her friend who came over literally to my house and walked me through the whole application process, I don't
Hmm.
know what I would have done. I feel like I probably would have
Now, this is
never went to
fascinating.
college.
Yeah, you know what's yes, you took the words right out of my mouth, virtual Maven. She said you were pushed to move. Maisha said, that's right. Empower yourself. So you were in this position. For those of you who are just joining, you are looking at someone who is making 50K a month as an entrepreneur. That's what you see right now in 2020. But not that long ago, we're hearing a story of a young woman who only had a GED. You're in this situation where the possibility that life may just not be you in a nice home with your husband. My life might be that I have to take care of myself. That hits you, and then that pushes you to go to this community college.
Well, this is the thing. Before I had my son, I was taking care of myself. I may not have been the right
Mhm.
uh, form of career or whatever, but
What were you doing? What do you
so I
mean?
was I was dancing. I was a stripper. You know what I mean? I had little jobs and stuff like that that I would do. But when I met my husband, that's what I was doing. I was selling drugs and stripping. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I was like, this is how I take care of myself. You know what I mean? I didn't
Yeah.
really have any goals or anything at that time. It was just survival mode. And when
What
I
about
met
your
him,
family? What about your family, Mecca? Were you around family or people who were like, I see more in you. You can do this. You don't have to be doing that. Was that going on and you were ignoring it? Or was it really like, I'm out here. I got to do what I got to do?
I think at this point it was I gotta do what I gotta do. It was like if you're not gonna give me a job or you're not gonna show me the way, like get out my
Uh-huh.
face. I'm not trying to hear it because I got bills to pay. I gotta eat, and all of that conversation was pointless. Like
Mhm.
for me, my whole life has been hard with like looking for jobs. Like I feel like my name just alone don't care what on my resume. They see my name and they don't call me back. You know what I mean?
That's
I've
real.
been in Georgia since last year. I put probably 100 and something resumes. I got one call back. Now, granted, yes, there are other people out here looking for jobs and stuff, but I watch people with just, names that sometimes you can tell. When I've been in human resource, so you can tell when
Mhm.
it's a black name or it's an African name or it's a different ethnicity.
That's a real
So
thing.
I feel like a lot of times I am hindered because of my name.
Mhm.
So that is what drove me even into the entrepreneurship. So fast forward, I go to school, my cousin helps me with
One
um
real quick thing.
yes,
One real
sorry.
quick thing. You know what? What? No, you're doing amazing. I'm just so like your story just really gets me excited. It's so interesting because when you think about it, and ladies, tell me if I'm wrong. And thank you for all your support and encouragement that you're giving Mecca right now, because it might look easy when you're watching, but it takes a lot of courage and vulnerability for somebody to share their story, especially the things that she's sharing, you know? So, Mecca, I want to say, and ladies, let me know what you think. I think that even as a stripper, even with you selling drugs, that's an entrepreneurial spirit
Yeah,
that was down in there.
yeah. And then it's funny because
Hmm.
I even in each of those settings, people would just be like, Mecca, this ain't you. This ain't you. You know what I mean? But I had to survive. You know what I mean? Like literally, people be like, oh, well, you could just go get a job. Yeah, but do you realize how long that's going to take to even acquire a paycheck from that job? all I gotta do is go buy some drugs real quick, and I got money. And for real, the easiness of it is what stopped me from stripping, because it was like, oh, this is all I gotta do. Like, I ain't gotta, like, what? Oh, I'm done with that. I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? And until I got in trouble and got arrested, it it was like one of those things was like, either you gonna go hard or go home. So it was like cops ran up on me, boom. It's like, okay, we gonna trim this down. I may have not stopped right away, but I definitely let myself be out of the spotlight because I was, in the spotlight at the time. But then, I met my husband, and, he kind of helped me see things in a different way. He asked me one time, he was like, when the last time you read a book? And I'm like, I don't know, like, ain't reading nothing. Like, well, you got no time to read books. We get money. And
Right.
um, I think he bought me the book Coldest Winter Ever or Fly Girl. And
Mm.
it was one of those books that like started, I think it was Fly Girl. And I read that book, and then next thing you know, I'm reading Coldest Winter Ever. No disrespect. I'm reading, like, I just about to make me emotional. But I'm reading all these books, and I'm not seeing these women, but I'm reading about these women who are in college and, going through these things with guys, and or just making something of their life. And truthfully, those books gave me hope to really like do something different at the time, because now it was like I was able to like step into a scene that I never seen before. I was used to watching other women who didn't look like me achieve stuff. You know what I mean? Coldest Winter Ever let me know I don't want to be in that life. You know what I'm saying? Um, Even though I had friends in it, it just was like that didn't interest me as much. You know what I mean? So before I met my husband, I had made a decision like I don't want to mess with no drug dealers. I don't want to mess, like, I want somebody who's a working man who wants to
Mhm.
build, so I had literally wrote down what I wanted before I met my husband. And he came, and he was working. He was a retired drug dealer because he was home from doing like 7 years in the feds. But it was like he loved me, and he would do anything for me. So it was like we were able to build this family. And again, he was encouraging. So fast forward, that happens, maybe a year in our marriage, and I'm just like, oh my God. So I
Mm.
literally I get all the help, to get registered for school. I'm working, and I'm going to school at night. I realize I get like this document that tells you how long you have to be in school, going part-time, full-time, when you would graduate. And it was like 6 years was going to take me to get an associate's degree. And I'm like, no way, hell, I can't. So I talked to my husband, and I was just like, hey, I really want to go full-time with school. You think it's cool, whatever, whatever. So we reached out, we got some resources with daycare. So I was able to send my son to daycare at the time. And while going through all of this, I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter. So I'm probably like I think I had gotten pregnant with her, and that's when I decided to go full time, because it was like I'm never going to graduate. So I'm pregnant with her. I now transition to full time. I have her. Then next, I'm like I'm ready to go back to work. You know what I mean? So I start
Mhm.
doing a work study at school as well as bartending at night. I did that for a minute. I would be at the bar with my books. The guys who was regulars, they'd be like, what you studying today? You know what I mean? So I just made it a part of my life.
Mm.
I never stopped. I went through spring break, summer break, all the breaks. Literally, when I graduated with my associates, I was taking like 8 classes. I think I was taking five for my associate's degree, and then in order for me to go into the bachelor's program, I had to take like 2 classes there and pay them out of pocket. But in order to
Mm.
do it, I had to do it like in that semester. So I was taking like 7 classes at one time, 5 over at the community college, and then 2 at Goldie Beacon. So I'm doing that, and I'm like in full focus mode. Like, it was funny
Right. What
because
were some
one
of
of
the challenges that you had? Because you went from GED to,
oh, I started at the bottom.
yeah,
Like,
to this
I started,
idea of, whoa, wait a second, I love my husband, but I don't know if what's happening right now.
yeah, I
And
kind of,
it's interesting that you immediately jumped into investing in yourself. So then
yeah,
now we're in community college. Now you're telling us that you are also beginning to take classes to get your bachelor's degree
yeah.
non-stop. Like you just,
Yeah,
what were some of the
the
things?
challenges,
Yeah.
I'll tell you about some of the challenges. One of the challenges was finding a babysitter. So I think at the time my
Mm.
mom was in California with my sister. So I didn't have any family in Delaware besides my brother, who was like 17, 18 at the time. So, he's doing his thing. So
Mhm.
one time I had to ask my husband's baby's mother. Now, mind you, me and her didn't get along at all. We didn't fight. I got assault charged for fighting her. Like, but I had to bury like my shit to call her and be like, "Hey, you think you could watch Yamira while I go to class?" It was the hardest thing I
Hold.
did in my life.
Yes, and you know what? It's so interesting. You remember that post I did? I think you may have participated. You getting some hearts for that one, girl. Where I asked people, like, what is the hardest thing for you? And did you see how many people said asking for help? My friend and I were watching a live just before hours, a couple of hours ago, and this lady, oh my God, she had an amazing story, but she still is under that whole I'm strong, I don't need nobody type of mindset. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the statement that she made, Maisha. She said, I will eat rocks before I ask anybody to help me. That's what she looked into the
I
camera
like
and
my
said.
teeth too much.
You know,
I like my teeth too much. I don't like the
and here
dentist.
you are
Like,
saying,
straight up.
I asked my husband's baby mama, who we don't get along,
We done fought.
working mom syndrome. Yeah.
We
You
done
ask
fought.
this woman that you can't stand if she could watch your baby for you to go. Tell us that alone.
Oh my goodness.
Girl,
It
that
was the
gives me
hardest
chills.
thing. It was the hardest thing ever that I did. But I knew that I felt like she wouldn't let anything happen to my baby, despite our stuff. It only was like once or twice. Like, literally, it was once or
But
twice, and that was
still.
it. Like, I
Well,
started
what did
taking them
you
with me
say?
to
How did you
school.
even do it, girl?
What? I
What did
don't
you?
know. I just picked up the phone. Literally, she lived right around the corner from us. So she lived maybe like
Uh-huh.
a block away. So I called her, I picked up the phone, and I was just like, "Hey, do you think you could watch Yamir while I go to class tonight?" And she was like, "Sure, bring him around." And that was that.
Wow.
We didn't, I was always great with her kids. If I took his daughter, if we were going to Six Flags or doing a family thing, I didn't just take his daughter, I took her daughter as well.
Mm.
Her dad and my husband had a relationship where they were able to communicate. And once I knew that he was okay and I had met him, and if he got locked up or something like that, anytime that he wasn't around, we tried to make sure that we filled that void as much as
Mhm.
possible. So and I was raised in a co-parenting situation like that. My dad would be locked up or wouldn't be around. They would make sure that I was on family gatherings and stuff with them. So I always wanted to, if I was in that situation, I wanted to be that type of stepmom or mom or whatever. So
Mhm. Wow.
um,
I want to read Tatum's thing. She said, that hurts my throat just thinking of swallowing my pride like that. Wow.
it
You
was
just taught us a master
like I
class
was
on
like,
swallowing your pride.
beat you up. Like, that's how I was feeling. Like, oh, I was like, I could have walked up to her door and been like, bop, 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 bop. But it was just like, I'm gonna just swallow my pride. I mean, even to this day, like, Me and his daughter don't have a relationship because of the stuff that she's caused. So it's like I just fallen all the way back. Like there's no
Mhm.
point. I didn't let her family, like the baby's mom's family, in my house. We didn't had events for his daughter at my house where it's their whole family.
Mm. But
And y'all
you
treat
had,
me weird, you know.
yeah, but you had such a goal in mind
Yeah.
that you were not going to allow pride
Yep.
to stand in the way of you getting to your next.
Yeah.
Virtual Maven says, I don't know if she has written a book, but this story, everything you've shared today, needs to be heard. And Virtual Maven, she hasn't even told us the half yet.
Nope.
I know. Like, I'm just like, even if we just say Lord, as Maisha will say sometimes, on this whole pride thing, man,
Yeah.
the things that we will hold on to pride for and let get in the way.
Yeah. That wasn't
Jeez.
I for this school thing, like I was so focused. Like when I sit back
Yeah.
and I be like, how like I was literally in, like nothing could.
Uh-huh. Did
So
you
I was
even
like,
know what you wanted to do? Like, did you
no,
know that where you are sitting right now, that that's where you were going?
no. I knew I wanted to be like CEO of somebody's company.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I didn't know it would be my company.
Mm.
Um, I've literally been an entrepreneur since I was little. Like I remember selling freeze cups out of my grandmom's St. Clair Village project house when I was
Mm-hmm.
like 5. You know what I'm saying? Like 5 or 6. I remember saving enough Kool-Aid points to get a Kool-Aid stand, and they ain't never send it. So I feel some type of way about Kool-Aid, and they ain't never send me my Kool-Aid stand. But that it was so far as way back then, selling candy in school and stuff like that. However, when it comes to business now, even now, it's like I have a hard time selling. So I don't really
Mm.
want to sell. I would rather people come to
Mm-hmm.
me and then I can sell to them. You know what I mean? I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't like begging. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like sometimes. When you're like,
But
come
we
work with
know
me.
just
Like,
because of your history that if you had to ask or however you do it, you're obviously doing it well. For those of you who are just joined in, this is Mecca Joy of MJ Biz Consulting. She's been helping entrepreneurs and entrepreneur thinkers to achieve their goals and create structure and things like that. She is an absolute phenomenon with what she does, but it hasn't always been like this, and she's only going higher. We have a couple of questions for you, and guys, please feel free to ask her any other questions because I do want us to pick up with what happened between. So we went from GED, community college, now you're pressing into getting your bachelor's degree. But Maisha wants to know when you talk about the baby's mother and stuff like that, she says, are we still talking about the original hubby that was also hollering at the friends?
yeah. Yeah, I'm still with him to today. So we're gonna get there. We got whole
Mm-hmm.
it's yes. So let me just say this because I want people to understand that when I married my husband, it was what I feel is God led. At the time, I wasn't spiritual. I actually was cooking dinner for this other guy, and he was standing in my kitchen doorway, and we were conversing, and I literally, loud as day, God was like, "That's gonna be your husband," and I'm
Mm.
like, whatever. I'm on the stove cooking, looking cute, and it said it again. It was like, that's gonna be your husband. And I'm like, okay, whatever. At this point we were just dating. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't anything. We weren't thinking about it, nothing. I wasn't thinking about it. And I just listened, and for real, that's what I continue to do.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm not sure if I'm making the right decision, but
Honest.
we'll get to that. So
Okay.
okay, so all right, so I went to the bachelor's degree. I was taking the class at the time when, so I'll say this, after I did let her, so I do want to share this one story with you, and I shared it with you yesterday. When I had my daughter, I was getting my associate degree. I had both my kids at a birthing center. And if anybody knows anything about birthing center, like you get to come home 3 hours after you have your baby if there's no complications or anything. So I have her on a Monday. It was either Sunday or Monday. And I had class on Wednesday. I was back in class on Wednesday with her on a front pack. Like
Oh my
there was
God.
nothing. I'm like, I'm just sitting home. Like literally, I lived 5-10 minutes away from the school. We were in class. I just didn't see a reason why people's like, oh, you're going to get a setback. And I didn't believe none of that stuff. Like none of that stuff. I literally was home taking care of my house. I didn't have a chance to clean up before she was born, so I had to come home and make sure things were set up. They tried to, but I didn't like people in my stuff. I was that controlling, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like nobody could come in my house and clean up. No, you're not coming in my house and clean up. I got this.
Mhm.
And I didn't do a lot, but I wasn't the type of woman where I was laid up and I'm like, oh, I just had a baby, I can't do nothing. Nah, I had things to do. So I was in class and my teacher was like, you don't have to be here. And I'm like, yes, I do. We got class, so I'm here.
Wow.
And that to him, I didn't realize what I was doing to him showed him how dedicated and motivated I was to be here, you know? So there would come a time when I needed a reference and he gave me a reference. And in that reference, he
Mm.
mentioned that like this lady is a force to be reckoned with. She's not playing, you know? So,
Mhm.
um, I do that. Before you know it, I'm going to get my bachelor's degree. And I don't think much happened during these times, like because literally I was focused. I was either going to school or I was working bartending. I was bartending Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from like 6 to 1. So every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays, that's what I would do. And to the point when I first started bartending, like it was Monday. You think Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, those are booty days. You're not gonna have nobody in the bar. My Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays was packed like Friday, Saturdays.
Isn't that something? And I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like that for you. It's like
Yeah, because it
the
wasn't like
way
that after.
things were right. It
Yeah,
wasn't like that for other people, was
no,
it?
it wasn't like that
No,
after.
look at just the way it was lining up. It's so interesting because when you're in something, you don't realize you're in it.
Yeah,
You don't realize all of the things that are happening for you. And
yeah,
sometimes it can be so easy to think about what's happening to you, to take it on that way. For example, you didn't say, I got, now I have these kids. I don't know who's going to help me, this, that, or the other. You're like, you know what? If I have to, I'm going to call his baby mama. You know what? If I have to, I will strap this baby on me,
and take them
literally,
to
and
class.
take a fresh baby.
Yes.
Okay? And we just have to go to class.
Yep.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm telling you, like the way that you have pushed through is so inspiring. Someone said that's the way that our ancestors were out here. That's what those women were doing. And
Yep.
that's the stock that we come from. For
Yep.
those of you who are just coming in, this is Mecca Joi of MJ Biz Consulting. And man, she has a story to tell. Do you hear me? You're looking at someone who's a highly successful business owner and helping her clients to achieve the same goals. I know that she's the type of person who wants her clients to actually do better than her, but this ain't how it's always been. I'm telling you. So, oh, welcome. So great to have you, DJ Prince
So
International.
look, what I tell
So
you the
now,
other day, you global, baby. You global, baby.
hey, we global. We worldwide in here.
International.
So, Mecca, for real though, so now you're pushing through to get the bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I believe the same too. It helps me too. We are really transformed by hearing other people's testimonies. It makes a huge difference. I really do believe, you can call me Al. I really do believe it does something. It's something goes off in us. It's that whole iron sharpens iron thing. It's just that whole lighting somebody else's candle, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Listen,
My
I feel
lesson,
like
my
it's like
biggest
that
takeaway.
with having a baby. Like I wasn't
Mm,
as spiritual when I had my son as I was when I had my daughter, but like
mm-hmm.
I felt like somebody reached inside of me and helped me push. Like
Yeah.
literally, that's how powerful it was. It wasn't just a
Mm-hmm.
regular, like it was 3 pushes, but on that third push, it was like literally like somebody physically came inside of me. It was like, and we pushed that baby out together. I don't feel like I did that on my own. You know what I mean?
And
Um,
even metaphorically, as you said that, it's metaphorical too, because
yeah.
that was supernatural that had something go off in you for you to go straight from a GED to doing these other things. So pick us up with you now in your bachelor's program
So
and
okay,
what
so
that part of
before
your
well,
life is
before
looking
we
like.
get to, so I want to share with you. I had this teacher. She was my business teacher. Her name was Miss Rue. She was a white lady, and
Mm-hmm.
one day we were walking. We would do like a little walk outside of school, whatever, because I always stayed and tried to stay with fitness or whatever. So we were
Mm-hmm.
walking and talking, and one day she says to me, she says, "So Mecca, what you want to do for your back? You know, what are you doing after you graduate?" And I'm like, "I don't know, like because I didn't know, and
Mm-hmm.
she made the suggestion that I go to Goldie Beacom for my bachelor's degree. She said it's a small college, it's a private college. They'll be able to provide you with what you need because you're mom and you work and stuff like that. So she was the one who helped spark it because I didn't know what I was going to do. And
Mm-hmm.
literally, after I talked to her, I think that next day I went, I found out, I talked to a counselor, boom, boom, boom. I put all the things in action. And so I say that to say that recently I made a post and it said I needed instruction in order for me to take action.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I needed for me in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been in religions and I've been, I did all of this stuff, but I needed like, this is what you got to do, Mecca. You got to go to the
Mm-hmm.
school and then step 1 and then step
Yeah,
2. And
that
I
person
needed that.
needed to be there.
Yes.
You know, like I deliberately pray for wisdom. Like it's not just the name of my IG page. I literally ask for wisdom every day
Yeah.
because they're the things that we know that we need to know. Like you said, you knew that you needed to know something. You just didn't know exactly what it was, but you knew that you needed wisdom, instruction, and guidance for this particular episode of your life.
Yeah. And
And then
and
now
during this
there it
time,
is.
I had issue with God.
Mm,
Like me and God wasn't on good terms. I wasn't praying like that. I wasn't,
mm-hmm,
however, I do feel like because of growing up with my grandma and having her around me and her being in church all the time, I still always had the compassion and the love that was in me. However, I just wasn't on a spiritual journey. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm,
That didn't happen. Well, so 2007, I graduated with my associate's degree. May of 2007. I'm already in classes. I'm just going straight into it. Mind you, it's May, so this is springtime, summertime, and school time. You know what I mean? So I'm taking summer classes at the college. So I go into that. It was like summer or spring, I think, at the time. So I'm taking classes. I'm just focused. That's 2007. I'm focused. I'm not thinking about anything. And I think this was one thing during my time in school because I was so focused and my knew one of my close girlfriends, every time I would have a final, every time I'd have a test, um, we celebrate.
mm-hmm,
So if it was finals and it was done that night, we was meeting up to have drinks. Um,
Mhm.
if I had a major test and I was done with it, we would meet up to have drinks. So that was the way I rewarded myself. Well, not drinks, but food, because I like to eat. I'm not really a drinker, but take me anywhere, I'll eat you out house and home. But so we would always do that, and that was my way that I would. We did that though. Shoot, the whole 10 years I was in school, from 2007 to 2012, we would. That's how we
Mhm.
celebrated. Because they knew I wasn't answering phones, I wasn't talking to people. Like, I didn't have time for anything else but school and work, if that's what I was doing. So I'm in my bachelor's program. I've been in there for about, so I'm fast forwarding a little bit because it was
Oh,
cool. I
that's
didn't
good
really
because we
have
want to
many
hear how you got to
issues.
get it into business because you didn't graduate and then go into like just decades of corporate work and
No,
being in
actually,
offices.
I started consulting for construction companies. That's how
Mm-hmm.
2007, when I graduated with my associates, my first client, he had a small construction company, and I came in, and really I was just going to attend networking events for him and help get his name out there. Well, the first event I attended, I walk up to this guy, and he looked important. So I just walk up to him. I was like, I said, what do? You look important. And he turns around, he was like, oh, da da da, I'm the host of the event, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we start talking. He asked me what I do, and I tell him. And next thing you know, he's on the phone calling this man who is the head of the union, who is able to help the client get into this weatherization program where, long story
Mm.
short, he ended up sealing the deal and was able to get like $350,000 in business. I helped him
And that was
expand
your
in
first
three
client.
states. And that was my first client. We expanded in three
Wow.
states: New Jersey, Maryland, um, Philadelphia, and helped him get contracts. I was on it. So
You had
I
to
did
see
that.
then, wait a minute, I got something here.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and because I love business, like I love learning about business. I think for me, it's the implementation part of it. It's like growing it from the beginning and seeing it like, "Whoa, look what we did. Look what together, look what we did." And that was what was exciting for me with that. Then I started watching, how money is being dealt, and things were just, I didn't agree with. So I stepped aside and, went back to focusing on school. And 2009, I find out that my husband's having an affair. Not only is he
Mm-hmm.
having an affair, he's having an affair and the girl's pregnant. But mind you, I while I was pregnant with my daughter, I introduced to him the vasectomy, and my idea in my head was, I won't be pregnant no more, and neither will anybody else. Because I do feel like, because of what I was doing and everything and how focused I was, I feel like he intentionally got me pregnant with my daughter. And I didn't want to have no more kids. So now, not only do I have one kid, because I was, at the time before I got pregnant, I think I was probably out the door. You know what I mean? Like, literally, I was on my way out the door. And then, boom. Because I told myself at the beginning, I said, the I'm going to be focused. I'm going to do what I have to do. And if something else happens, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was so focused that it just didn't, I don't know. I get pregnant with her, boom. I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll work it out. And then 2009, so she's born 2005, 2009 happened. He comes and tells me about it. Well, mind you, I had been feeling like my intuition was telling me something wasn't right for a minute. I just didn't know what, because he was never the type of man who was out partying. He wasn't out, late. He has a job where, like, it requires him to be on, he's driving in his work truck. He's out going from house to house. So I
Mhm.
just didn't, I just knew something wasn't right. But he never had behavior that was inconsistent from what I was used to seeing. So I don't know what was going on for a long time. So anyway,
Mhm.
and I was focused on my kids, focused on school, the kids, the house. I wasn't,
And school.
yeah, in school. So
You were
literally,
completely
and
blindsided by this.
oh my goodness, I'm literally about to start a new semester when he tells me this. Like that day, I'm about to go to school. You know what I mean? Like, I think the next day I started class. So I'm taking it. Actually, it was a math class that I was taking. I literally pulled my teacher to the side and I said, listen, I just had some devastating news happen. I don't know how well I'm going to do in this class. So she just told me, show up every week, she said, and if you do bad, I will make sure that you'll be able to retake the class next semester with no problems. So that was
Favor
fun. Look, and this,
again.
look, all of this about to make me cry. All right.
It's okay.
So, I'm hearing this, I'm going
Mhm.
through all of this, and I'm just like, I can't believe this. Like, I knew something was up, but like, what the fuck? Like, dog, like, we got a family. Like, why would you do this to me? And but at the same time, I'm like, Mac, you got to go. Like, this is what he want to do. This is what you got to do. So I'm like, all right, cool. All right. At the time, I'm like, my one homegirl, she's like, I don't understand you. She's like, this nigga cheat on you and you go buy him some shit. I know my love language is sometimes is giving, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to make it right. I'm trying to not argue. Okay, now this is the problem. Let's work on it. Let's fix it. Boom.
Mhm.
I was telling you the other day. So as I'm, instead of me going into a depression and destructive behavior, cheating on him, doing something, because the guys was liking me, but I just was, I was being faithful. So I dive in spiritually. One day, I just so happened to be leaving class, and a girl, she's like, "Hey, I need to get to catch a ride." Blah blah blah. She's like Indian, I think, and I think can't remember where she was from, but she was actually coming from Chicago to come to our class. So she would come stay at a friend's house, and then she would come to class or whatever because she got a lower rate or something because she was out of town or whatever. So anyway, I'm driving her. Mind you, me and this girl, we talked in class, but not really. We weren't like buddy buddy, but me, I'm always giving, always ready to serve. So I give her a ride and we're talking and we're in the car and she starts telling me about Buddhism. And
Mm.
I had heard of it from the Tina Turner movie, you know what I mean? So I had
Right.
seen it on there, but I had never really like heard of it. So I'm explaining to her, not really in detail what I'm going through, but she's like, girl, I think you need to try it. Come in, we'll talk about it, blah, blah, blah. So long story, she introduced me to this lady named Deborah. And I take on Buddhism. I start practicing Buddhism. I start chanting, which is like, I don't know if anybody's interested or thinking about it. It is definitely an awesome practice to implement into your spirituality. Like I can tell you stories of how I manifested all types of things while I was practicing Buddhism. And so I started practicing Buddhism, but at the same time, my OBGYN, who's a white lady, who was also at the birth center, she tells me, and the reason why I keep saying white lady, because there is a reason why I say this, and I'll tell you at the end.
Mhm.
So she tells me, she says, Mecca, you got to come to our spiritual center, blah, blah, blah. She's been telling me about it for years. Mind you, I had both my kids there. So at this time, in
Mhm.
2009, I've been with her probably 9, 10 years now because I started with them before my son was born. So she's like, come, 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 come. So finally I go. The first time I go, I'm with someone and they're like, oh, it's all these white people here and da da da. But the message was like, oh, I think she had Ayanna Van Sant come down, or they had her come down or something.
Mhm.
And we were going to come back. I didn't make it to that event, but then something just kept leading me to the spiritual center. Fast forward, I now I'm all in because I'm hearing a message that needs to, like every week I'm crying. I'm like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, oh, this ain't
Mhm.
forever. Oh, are you serious? So it was like these messages were like aha moments. You
Mhm.
know, finding out that I could change the way, my thoughts, and this negative way of thinking, and it was just like, whoa,
And
like,
all of this is going on while you're in school full time, while you have infants, and while you have a man at home
who's being
who
unfavorable
has a baby on the
on the
way.
way.
Now,
Yeah.
I have a quick question for you. And we probably are going to have to switch over and do a
Okay.
part two because this is going to start counting us down in a few minutes.
Okay.
But Maisha wants to know, did you have your dad in your life during
Nope.
this time? Do
No,
you have
ma'am.
any relationship at all with him or?
Not, no, actually, no. No, I
Okay.
mean, we've had a relationship before he passed, but it was no one I could reach out and
Mm,
talk to for advice or anything going
wow.
through it.
Hmm. And
No.
so meanwhile, baby's still on the way from your husband. What is this relationship now looking like? Because I know you're pouring yourself into school. You've been introduced to Buddhism, and that is bringing you some enlightenment and encouragement. You also have community around you with that. What is it like at home? Is he still there?
I
Like,
mean,
what did you
truthfully,
do?
like,
Did
yeah,
you
he's
leave?
there. He was there, and then so that we find out about the baby, boom, 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 all of
Hmm.
that. One day, I'm in my room. I think she had the baby. Um, I think at the time she may have had the baby. And I'm in my room, I'm praying, I'm like saying their name, I'm saying his name, I'm saying her name. I'm like, God, take these people out of my life.
Mm,
Show me what I'm supposed to think. If some was if I need to be enlightened, tell me. That wasn't exactly what I said, but get the drift. So I swear to you not. Maybe 5 to 10 seconds later, my phone rings and it's the girl on the phone. And mind you, when we talked
woo.
prior, I said, well, I said, he gonna tell me anything. So if you want to prove it to me, bring some evidence. Well, she brought evidence. And there was no way he could deny it because the evidence was there. So I wowed out, I snapped. I'm
Wait,
like, you
she
got
brought
to
the
go.
baby?
Boom, boom,
When
boom,
you
boom,
say
boom.
she brought evidence, what did she bring?
A necklace that he wore. She brought the necklace, and the necklace, told me everything because he always wore that necklace. And so for her to have it, he had to be there within the last couple of days because I had just seen the necklace like a couple of days ago. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it was like, boom, God puts it right on me. So I'm like, I'm done. It's good.
Mhm.
Go ahead, go
Do you
about your
feel like
way.
you
So,
maybe were in a little bit of denial because why did you need to kind of see that when you had already had him tell you?
well, I think it was just because, you want to believe. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, I don't know. I was young and I wanted to believe that he's going to do the right thing.
right.
Um, I wanted to believe him. That's my husband. If anybody, I'm gonna
Mhm.
believe him. I don't know this girl, but at the same time, now that I'm older, why didn't she gotta lie? Like,
Mhm.
what reason do she have to lie? But then again, I know that there are women who are wicked and do lie. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it's just like, who knows? So we I say, okay, it's a wrap. I'm good. So we separate. He's like, oh, it's the alcohol. It's this. He goes to a rehab. He's in there for a few months or a month or whatever it was, and he comes out. It's pretty good for a minute. Um, but then but during this time, mind you, I'm still focused. I think I'm still in school because I didn't graduate until 2012. Um,
Mhm.
but you know, I will say this. During this time, me staying home, I never have had to pick up a checkbook, pay a bill. Um, and I think that security can
Oh.
be really detrimental to
Mm.
our spirituality, and it,
Hold
it,
on one
it does a
second.
disservice to us.
Mecca, we got to pick that thought up
Okay.
because we have 30 seconds remaining. So we're going to do a part two.
Okay.
What you just said is so profound that having security actually can be detrimental. Wow. So you guys come back in, let's say, 10